Hello everyone, and today I would like to talk about functional programming. What is functional programming and why do you need to learn it? Because it makes you a better developer and gives you a tool to produce better code and to more efficiently solve your everyday tasks. What is functional programming is better to ask for the beginning the Wikipedia. And it says that functional programming is a programming paradigm that treats computation as the evaluation of mathematical functions and avoids changing state and mutable data. Two important things here. First of all, it treats computation as evaluation, in contrast to imperative style where you have the algorithm step by step, you are doing actions, modifying your properties, executing functions. And functional, you have one formula and you execute it by one. There is no modifying variables in between, which is part 2, avoids changing state, immutable data. You execute your formula, you have your another state. No modifications in between, which makes it easier to debug, easier to reason about. It's pretty neat code, very concise. I quite like it. Let's take a look at this example. We have this imperative style code which inputs some data in just an array of some people with full names and contact details, and at the end we produce desired array with electronic address and some JWT token with some load inside. So if we take a look at this code, it's well structured. We have some promise function here, and this is generate response data, which has a lot of loops. What I heard about loops is that you should always take care of nesting level, and it's hard to understand this right brace for which cycle it is and what's going on here. Actually, some token object goes here. Yeah, it takes some focus, some your mental energy to grasp it, to just understand, and you evaluate it line by line. It's okay, but for this task it can be done better. So what we're gonna do first? So first we see loops, and we would like immediately to eliminate them. So let me just insert this code that I already wrote. So we redefine generate response function here, which was there. It inputs data, and we would like to preserve coroutine here because we would like to run promises. And we will have some array of emails which we will receive from data. Data is our array of people, and we would like to iterate through this array and get emails from individuals. So this method it gets your individual, and from this context it would like to receive all email addresses. So we would like to work through those people, and in each people take all email addresses. Let's remove this function, we don't need it anymore. Save and run. Boom. Yes, so we have an array of arrays. So to improve this, I would like to add more expression to our formula, functional formula, to transform this data. So I would like to transform this array of arrays to plain list, and for that I would like to modify our two-dimensional array to another value, make it flatten. So in other languages like Java or closure. There is a predefined flatten function, but for us, for JavaScript and Node.js, we need to write it ourselves. So we would like to write a callback for our reduce function, and you can look at the documentation and check that reduce receives a callback with two parameters, which is array accumulator, which will be a result, and flat. We will call it flat array, which is our result supposed to be, and the element. So this reduce function will iterate through some array and reduce it to some accumulator, which is the first parameter here. This one. Array element. So what we need, we take all the elements and merge them together. So for that, this built-in concat function. Here we go. Let's run and check it. Oh, flatten is not defined. Yep, we need to fix the names. Boom. Yes, so we have the flatten list, flat list, which is what we need. And the next step is to clean all this rubbish data. For that, we will use the third function built in JavaScript for functional programming, which is filter. So these three functions make it the base that you can use for functional programming: map, reduce, and filter. Map to iterate through array and modify it. Reduce to take the array and to take an array and make a single value, and use filter to filter out some elements out of an array. Alright, so we would like to use filter and write the callback format to make our data distinct. So filter receives an callback with three parameters, which is value, index of the current element, and an array which it iterates against. So the callback should return Boolean value, true or false, whether this element should stay in array or be filtered out. So what it does, basically, it just checks the array for existence of our current element, and takes the index if this element exists. If the index is the same with the value to check against, this means that this value for that part of array that we already checked, this value is in the single presence. Alright, and before distinct, I think we need to filter out empty values. So we just write callback functions in here. We receive the value, and if value not equal undefined, and value not equal empty string, that it should exist. It should stay. Right. Let's run again and check the output. Boom. Okay, cool. So we have our list of email addresses. It's time to generate our JWT tokens, and for that we need to use promises, because we would like to store our tokens in our backend database, which requires some I/O execution, and it takes some time. We don't want to block our Node.js loop, and how we do it in functional fashion. So for that I would like to use bluebird.map, which iterates through array and creates a promise to execute array of promises. Let's see how it works. Alright, so return yield. So we'd like to yield the promise. Promise.map against array of emails and email address. So we have a mail address that we generated, which is here, and we would like to iterate through it and create another structure. We would like to create this kind of structure, so the value and a token. A value and a token. Value and token. Alright, email address. Let value and token. We'll have email address. And for that we do okay, we can reuse this function, generate one-time token. So here I don't use a database call. I just create JWT, sign it, and use promise to resolve it. But it's easily convertible to file call or MongoDB call. And we chain it. Email address as a parameter, chain it. Token object that we generated. To return desired structure, which is electronic contact, electronic address, email address, token object, right? Yeah. So we're good. We had map our structure to get all the email addresses, make the array flatten, remove 2 dimensions, filtered out all garbage values and rubbish stuff, filtered filtered out repeated values, and then produced the desired tokens. Let's execute it and have a look. Yes, so we have succeeded in it. So at the end, what we got here, this is our formula, this is our mathematic function that we evaluate to convert our data. We have data, we take emails, we make our list plain, we filter out garbage data, we make it distinct, and then we transform it to desired structure. So what we have now is pretty neat, and for me, I would like to say that it's much easier to reason about, much easier to debug and see the whole flow. And when you have the input, which is quite complicated with many different things to convert, to modify, and to combine, it's much more helpful to write just a formula